Hey friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Abisola Olu-Ojo. If you are new here, you are very welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back to my channel. So today's video will be a sequel of my last one where I shared 10 things I love the most about living in Australia. If you haven't seen that, please make sure to check it out. In this one, I will be sharing 5 things I wish were different about Australia, or 5 things I dislike about Australia. So if you're interested, please keep watching. So before I get into the details, let me say that I'm happy for you to disagree with anything I share. What I will be sharing is based off my own personal experiences and observations. If you have to disagree, please do so politely. Thank you. So the first thing on my list is the high UV index. We have one of the highest UV indexes in the world, and also we have the highest rates of skin cancer cases in the world. Guys, if you look into the skies in Australia, we have little or no clouds. Our skies are just there. We have little or no clouds covering it. So what this means is that the radiation from the sun shines directly on us, which can be very dangerous for our skin. I used to be one of those Africans that would say, oh, black skin popping, melanin everywhere, I don't need sunscreen. But then I just did a little bit of research into how harmful the UV index can be for our skin. So right now, I wear my sunscreen religiously to protect myself from the UV rays. I would encourage you also, whether you're black, brown, whatever skin color, you need sunscreen in Australia, because our UV index is really harsh, and that's also why you hear people saying that Australia is a sunburned country. It's really hot here, and radiation is very direct on our skin, so we have to do what we can to protect our skin, and that's why it's very highly advertised here for people to use sunscreen. So please, this is not a skincare video of any kind. This is just me letting you know that in Australia, it is very important to protect your skin from the UV index. I wish it was different, but then it is what it is. We have to play our part in protecting our skin from this harsh UV index. So that's the first thing on my list. The second thing is fast fashion. Australia is really big on fast fashion. So what I mean is they tend to produce clothing based on recent fashion trends and then make it cheaply available for customers. But the downside of this fast fashion is the fact that they are not great quality. You mass produce clothes and make them very cheap, but they are almost as good as disposable clothes. You purchase an item which is very affordable, and in less than a month or two, the cloth is fading or deteriorating and you have to dispose of it. This is also very bad for the environment. So what I tend to do is I have to purchase from slightly high-end stores, and this will be a bit more expensive, but I don't really have a choice because I want the clothing items to last. So as opposed to buying fast fashion and knowing that it would deteriorate in a few months, I tend to buy slightly expensive clothing because I want them to last. And also, even though I have to go to some high-end stores to buy clothing that I want them to last based on quality, we also don't have variety, you know. I think that there's very limited options in terms of clothing items. If I go to some high-end stores like Forever New or Maya or Zara to buy good clothing, it's still the same thing you see everywhere. So the likelihood of attending an event and finding 1 or 2 people wearing the same thing as you is very high, because we don't have a lot of options, and then we have a lot of fast fashion going on here in Australia. Cheaply produced clothes that deteriorates in no time. I wish that wasn't the case. Okay. So the third thing on my list is Australian radio, and again, this is based on my opinion. I think that Australian radio is very boring. I find it very boring. Every radio station tends to be boring for me, and that's why I'm very grateful for Spotify and YouTube Music. I believe strongly that the radio stations need more creative content. I think that they need to come up with different things that will keep listeners engaged even more. I barely listen to the radio except when I have to hear the news while I'm driving. But aside that, there's nothing that keeps me engaged to any radio stations here. The playlists are repeated too many times, and I just wish that was different. If you disagree, please let me know. So the fourth thing is the fact that I believe that we lack African representation. This has nothing to do with the Australian government or anything. This is more about African people, Black people. I would love to see more Africans taking positions of leadership, whether in politics, whether in management, whether in entertainment, whether in the food industry. I want to see more African representation in Australia. I understand that, I mean, it's just been over 20 years since Africans began coming into the country, but I think that 20 years is enough time to start seeing more Africans take up spaces of influence in the country. This is also a challenge for me myself to step up my game and see how I can be more influential in Australia, which is now my country. I don't think we have enough of that, and I would like to see some major changes in that aspect. Let me know what you think as well. I would like to see more Africans doing great things in Australia. Here in Perth, I know quite a few doctors who have their own private medical practices, and I love to see that. But I think that a lot more can be done in that aspect. I want to see people popping up here and there and doing great things, whether even in fashion, entertainment, every sphere of influence necessary. I want to see more Africans being represented. Okay, so that's the fourth thing. The last thing on my list is the fact that we are just on a reverse climate here. We are opposite to the rest of the world. So when it's winter here, it's summer everywhere else. When it's summer here, it's winter everywhere else. And then the time difference is such a huge obstacle, in my opinion. It's hard to communicate with other people in other parts of the world because of the time difference. And then even if you want to consider traveling, you really have to think and plan about it because of the distance. We are just reverse in a lot of ways. So these are the things I wish were different about Australia. It doesn't change in any way how much I love living here. And if you would see my previous video, what I love definitely outnumbers what I don't like. I love living here in Australia, and I also see it as a country where you can definitely thrive and flourish as a person. It's not a perfect country, but then it has its little imperfections which I have shared based on my own opinions. There's no perfect country anywhere. It's not perfect, but it is great for me and anyone who chooses to live here. So if you have enjoyed watching, I would love to hear what you think. Share with me in the comment sections what your opinion is, what you agree or disagree with based on what I've discussed with you guys today. And also please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It really pushes my videos to more people and it helps my channel grow. Thank you all for your support so far. I will see you on my next video, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.